time for some disturbing books. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books and welcome back to Zocktober. In today's episode we are talking about Disturbing Books Part 2. If you have not seen Part 1, we'll have it up here for you to take a look at. Otherwise, I've got 5 books here that I find disturbing. Again, this is based off of my own opinion. Some of you guys might not find these disturbing, and some of you guys might agree with me in saying, wow, these are disturbing. So, we'll have these 5 linked down below. And also don't forget to check out podcasts, Danielle's channel, Instagrams, Bookstagrams, all that stuff down there. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into some disturbing stuff. Alright, first up is The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. Y'all knew this one was coming. Disturbing, the cover. I do have the hardcover edition, but I wanted to keep this all paperback. So, yeah, cover's disturbing enough as it is. If you have seen the movie, you know exactly why this is a disturbing book. If you have not seen the movie, this book is absolutely disturbing. This is following a young girl named Reagan who gets possessed by a demon. I don't know if it's the devil himself, but it's a demon. Pretty much you're just following the perspective of what's going on with exorcisming, I don't know if that's even a word, performing an exorcism on this young woman, and it's graphic, it's horrific things happen. I have not seen the movie in a fat minute, so if I remember correctly, it is pretty true to the film. Even like the ending, all that is pretty accurate. There are some parts in this book that are a little bit dull, like when you're following the perspective of, I want to say it's scientists in Egypt or something like that. I did give this, I think it was 5 stars when I read this. I did read this in classic horror books like 2 years ago. I read it with the Amityville Horror, and I want to say it was The Haunting of Hill House. I think that was the other book I did. But yeah, this book, utterly disturbing. It's graphic as all can be, so I would definitely recommend this one. The Exorcist, William Peter Blatty. Which leads me to book number 2, The Neighbors by K. Lucas. This was sent to me by, I want to say, Scott. Thank you for sending me this book. I know you had said you read it and you thought it was disturbing. You wanted me to read it, and I am on board with this being completely disturbing. I gave this 5 stars. I think almost all of these I gave 5 except for 1, and I'll talk about it in a little bit. This book is just... oh man, it's just purely disturbing. A woman and her husband move to this new town, and the problem is almost the whole book is I can spoil it with saying something. The husband's sketchy. There's all these sacrifices that need to happen. The whole neighborhood is I can't say much. I mean, the other problem is there's a dog, and this is the problem with this book, is I can't say much about it because a lot of things get spoiled quick. You're following this family. They move into this neighborhood. The neighborhood is sketchy. The husband is sketchy. It's just so disturbing. And then the ending, the last 50 or 100 pages are just WTF is going on. It's just, I'm speechless with this book. It's just graphic, and I definitely would recommend this book. So Scott, thank you for recommending this to me, and I'm in agreement with you. This was a pretty disturbing book, and so it's just good. I would definitely read this, guys, if you have not. Look into this. So there you have The Neighbors by K. Lucas. And okay, so the next 2 I'm going to say are probably the most disturbing in their own different ways. So first I'm going to talk about Kin by Keelan Patrick Burke. If you have read this book, you know how disturbing this is. If you have not read this book, get ready for a hell of a ride that is very disturbing and kind of gives you wrong turn vibes. Pretty much this woman escapes this family of like inbred cannibals and stuff like that. Full on wrong turn. And it's pretty much her survival story. We're following the cannibals as they go about trying to find her because they have not had one escape before. This was just so disturbing on so many levels. It was just, I gave it 5 stars. It's probably in my top 10 most disturbing books I've ever read, or horror books in general. It's probably in my top 10 for the year, if I'm being honest. It's just so gross. It's so disturbing. It's gruesome what they do. Anytime you deal with like cannibals and stuff like that, it's usually very disturbing. Like, we're in the middle of watching Dahmer, and yeah, it's disturbing. This is absolutely disturbing. So I would definitely... So this is disturbing in a physical sense of it's a family of cannibals. They're all inbred. They're all just weird, sketchy. It's like wrong turn vibes completely. And the next one, probably this one I've got so many opinions on. It did not work for me. I gave it 2 stars, but it is absolutely disturbing. Gone to See the Riverman by Christopher Triana. If you've read this book, I don't know if you're going to share the same opinion as me. Obviously, there are mixed opinions on this book. There are people who have given this 5 stars. And so... Bailey, stop it!
This has been a popular book going around BookTube this year.
It has been a pretty popular book going around this year on the BookTube world. I am one of the people who do not like this book. Mainly because of... I can't even spoil it, but the main girl, Lori, that we're following is probably my most disliked character I've read before. Or, like, ever. I can't... If you know, you know. But I just cannot deal with her. It's not that big of a book. It didn't take me that long to read. It was a good story. It was a good premise. It was a good idea. I just didn't like this character. Like, she's just didn't work for me at all. And I don't know, I just think she's a disturbing person, and that's what makes this disturbing in a different way. She has an obsession with like a serial killer, and it just drives her to do things that are just ridiculous, and I just hated her for it. So there you have Gone to See the Riverman by Christopher Triana. Which leads me to the last book that I find disturbing. I figured I would throw a King book into this list, and I had a hard time contemplating one that was disturbing that was not Pet Sematary, because I did that in the last video I did with this. And I think I picked a decent one. I would say Thinner by Stephen King / Richard Bachman. I would consider a pretty disturbing book. All things granted with what the main person we're following, the lawyer, what's his name? Billy, does to this family of gypsies, how the family is treated, or like them as a group are treated by him, the whole town, what ensues with why he gets cursed. Basically, this book is about a man, he runs over a gypsy woman, and the gypsy woman's son, who's like 100-something years old, sets a curse on him. And no matter how much he eats, he's losing weight. This man is very heavy set. It's like 300 pounds or something like that. And no matter what he eats, he's always losing weight. And it's starting to get to the point where he's just becoming bones and like skin. And it's just graphic how it's described. He gets away with the murder because he's got connections within the town. And it's just disturbing in a sense of like, I don't want to... Just what he does is just disturbing stuff that he does around the town. It's not like gross, but it's just like, it's dirty. Like, it's just like not right. It's not humanly right. And I just find it disturbing. A close second, I would say, is probably The Long Walk, another Bachman book. That was real disturbing. But this one, I think, takes first place in that category. So, another book I gave, I think, 4 stars, maybe even 5. It's like my 3rd or 4th favorite Bachman book. Besides The Long Walk, I would say this might actually even be 2nd or 3rd. Yeah, Thinner, Richard Bachman, Stephen King. All right, so there you have my most disturbing books, part 2. Again, mixed feelings on this. This is my opinion. There are people who are going to differ. Let me know your opinion down below. If you think any of these are disturbing, or if you want to battle me and say they're not, go for it. Otherwise, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of Zocktober tomorrow. Later.